So this tree here is called a Barbados Cherry. See the pink flowers? It kind of doesn't produce cherries in August. It's too hot, but it produces cherries about 8 months out of the year. And there's one right here, and there's one up there too. So this guy right here, see it? If I just barely touch it, it should just come off. And then this one up top, there's another one up there, but I'll get it later. And these guys are really high in vitamin C, they're like a tropical cherry, called acerola. A-C-E-R-O-L-A. Or Barbados Cherry. They have like 5 seeds in them, but they're really tasty of any fruit. I can feel the power right now.
Just eat it and
Is that one of your top
kind of like a sunflower seed?
Yeah, I just spit them out back in the mulch.
I was wondering if there was seeds in them.
I'm sorry I don't have enough for all you guys, but
High on my list.
I did a tour in March. So in March, all these mulberry trees, they start to fruit, and there's just mulberries galore everywhere. I did a tour last March, and I made a lecture. I said, okay, right now, there's mulberries, everything's fruiting. Please don't pick it, I don't have enough for everybody. The guy came late, didn't hear my thing. And I'm doing the tour like this, and he's just munching all the mulberries off the tree. And I'm like, that tree is just from my immediate family, it's my favorite one. And he goes, and he felt really, really bad. But mulberry also on my list. Now here's the thing, the cities that you live in usually don't want you to plant a mulberry tree because they don't want the male one. The male mulberry puts the pollen into the air and makes everybody's allergies go crazy, right? But these are all females. There's nothing wrong with a female mulberry besides the fruit drops on the ground. So your HOA, who's in an HOA? Your HOA might not like it because it will stain the concrete purple, but then you can get a white one. There's a white mulberry too, with white fruit. So this mulberry, that mulberry, this mulberry, I freeze a year's supply of mulberries every March. And now in the freezer is also Ziploc bags full of mulberries. We just put a plastic or tarp on the ground and just shake it down and they all fall down into the tarp.
Is it okay with full sun or partial shade?
They are the most hardy and tough trees around. So a mulberry is the tree you should plant first because it creates a top-level canopy that creates shade and wind protection for the plants down below. Super fast growing. Super fast.
And then every year you're supposed to cut them all the way down to the nubs like all the landscape companies do.
They do. And what I would recommend is that when you start to have to prune, this is one of the most important things. When you start to have to prune your fruit trees, you're now a successful gardener. Because if you're not pruning, that means your tree is always just a baby. But like this year, like this mulberry will lose its leaves come this winter. They're deciduous. That's what that's called, right? Deciduous?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then right before they bud out in the spring, when it's like a week away, when I see the buds starting to form, I prune the tree according to how I want it to be. So I want this one to be more of a shade tree. It's a white mulberry called a white Pakistan. But that one's a purple Pakistan. It's my favorite fruit. The mulberries are this long. And they're as big as like a roll of dimes. So I want that tree to be reachable. Oh look, it's putting off a second wave of mulberries right now. See all the mulberries? Mm-hmm. It's putting off a second crop. That's pretty cool. I only did that one time before. Wow, okay, so don't pick those. But I will usually prune this tree, I'll top it so the branches grow more this way, and then it's more reachable. Because if the fruit is beyond your reach, whose food is that?
Birds.
Birds' food, right? So some trees you prune for aesthetics. Some trees you prune for a walkway. Some trees you prune for shade. Some trees you prune for reachability of fruit. I always want the cherries reachable, right? That one up there is already not reachable, so I gotta prune it down a little bit. The one thing you can't really prune is like a date palm. They're gonna grow straight up, right? This tree is an ironwood, and I like it to go kind of crazy because it's like an ecosystem for birds and wildlife and mantids and everything. And that ironwood never needs water. The mesquite trees never need water. The palo verde never needs water. The acacia, shoestring acacia never needs water. They just live off native water. So they're fantastic trees.
Seamus or Greg?
I got this one from Seamus.
Okay.
I got the mulberry from
right?
Seamus, but also from Treeland Nursery.
Okay.
You go to Treeland Nursery, it's a great nursery, and also Greg Peterson Pop-Up Nursery.
Because I've been telling people in Smash Conventional Wisdom, you talk to most of the people at nurseries and they'll tell you can't grow this.
The one thing about this that's tough is the first winter.
Okay.
So I would plant it in April, because if you plant it now, it won't be able to grow enough roots to protect itself. So this one I planted right there. Look how it's getting a microclimate. So can you guys all hear me back there? Is it too hot? Come in a little bit closer really quick. Come in nice and tight. Probably the most important thing I would tell you this class today, in addition to wood chips, is microclimate. What does that mean?
Where you create your own ecosystem based off the environment.
Yeah, so if you guys were gonna plant like a citrus tree, would you put a citrus tree right in the middle of the yard, right there in the middle, with nothing around it? You might, and then you might kill it. So what I did is I put this Barbados cherry, which is not native. It's hard to grow a little bit. It's not on my top 13, it's like a harder one to grow. But look at how it has diffuse shade right now. It has some shady light from the ironwood. It has wind protection from all these trees. So when the monsoon's going crazy, if I stand right here, it's pretty calm actually, because all these surrounding trees are a windbreak for this area. So that Barbados, look how happy he looks, because he has this microclimate that's right here. Plus the wood chips down below is like the forest. Number 2 thing you can do in addition to taking classes like this with people who are growing, if you want to be a good gardener, is go hiking all the time.
Oh yeah.
Get out in the frickin' forest and backpack all the time, because when you go out there, you will learn from the best garden, which is Mother Earth. And Mother Earth grows with bark and leaves and wood chips and fallen trees. They grow veganically. Yes?
What's your water bill?
Everyone always asks me that, and I don't know you well enough yet to tell you that.
It doesn't matter.
But I will tell you this. So every $1 my water bill goes up, usually my food bill goes down $2 since I started. Because I started this because I was vegan, I was very athletic, I'm teaching martial arts all the time, and I was paying over like $1,500 a month in food just to keep me fed for all the classes I was teaching. So I'm like, let me plant a peach, a pomegranate, and a fig tree. And every time I produce fruit, it's actually made my food bill go down. I'm getting much healthier and all that stuff. So, and this summer, I put a lot of wood chips here, and I tried an experiment. I took the water bill down 50% what it was last summer. And I had half the water bill this year than it was last year, and my tree still made it. Some of them didn't make it as well, but they're coming back. Yeah, I just watered half as much. And instead of watering every day when it was hot and dry, I would water every 3rd day. And everything seemed to make it pretty good. I mean, it's okay. So, yeah, so you're gonna have a water bill, of course. And if you don't want a water bill, then keep buying from the store. But I'm telling you right now, if we think about the real impact of our water, if you're eating hamburgers, steaks, and meat stuff, it takes 30 to 40 to 50 times more water to grow meat than to grow vegetables. So if you want to really decrease your water usage, go vegan. Number 1 thing you can do. I could leave, if you're not vegan and I am, I can leave my shower running 24 hours a day and still use less water than your diet. It's incredible. Number 2 is wood chips, of course, in the garden. Number 3 is eat locally, because the people growing out in the areas just get unlimited water. And what is it, like 80% of California's water comes from farms. So why are they not restricting the farms? Why are they restricting the toothbrushing sink water? I don't understand. Anyways, too much political stuff. Anyways. Anything else? Grapes. I think grapes grow great in Phoenix, so grow any grapevine you want. I'm growing like Autumn Royale, I'm growing blueberry grapes, I'm growing Thompson seedless.
How about shade for the grapes?
Shade, they can take full sun. Yeah. They create a shade. You can grow them over top of your canopy. Let's see here.
Soil and
oh, for grapes? Grapes are great because they use only once a week water.
Okay.
1 water a week. They're very drought tolerant. And the fig tree is on my list of top 13. How many trees is that now?
8.
8, 9? So fig tree is in there. The pomegranate's in there. Is that 9?
Yeah.
So pomegranate is in there. And the carob. Behind this gentleman here, there's a carob, the female fruiting carob tree. And the carob tree produces a bean that's black or brown that tastes like chocolate. Mm-hmm. So my neighbor across the street has a male and only will produce a funky smell. Mm-hmm. Female's always better. So the female is that one, and it produces flowers and fruit. And that tree I planted 2 years ago was kind of small, and that tree is in the middle of the yard because it can take full sun, it can take cold down to the teens, and it will eventually be a 60-foot canopy tree that we'll put a tree house in. So that's going to be the big tree right there. That's getting bigger every year. I'm actually pretty impressed. It's like quintupled in size since 2 years ago.
When can you tell if it's a male or female?
When they flower, or when they put off they either put off a puff balls or they put off flowers. The flowers look like little tentacles. Probably like 3rd year.
You just got to buy it from the right person.
Good luck.
So there's not
Now you could take a cutting off my tree and root it and have a female.
Awesome, thank you.
Join the Arizona Rare Fruit Growers. Hypothetically, you could do that. But if you join the Arizona Rare Fruit Growers Fruit Club, they will show you how to graft and how to root cuttings of trees so that you can, instead of planting from seed, you can go to a tree, take a piece of it to your yard and grow the exact same tree, the exact same sex. Arizona Rare Fruit Growers, azrfg.org. They meet once a month at MACE Community College, and they're a great club. No, it's run by Doug Jones. Doug's actually doing a banana sale today at his house. He has an acre in Mesa, and he has 1,000 fruit trees on his acre.
Oh my God.
And he has a lot of bananas. So he's doing a banana sale today of all the banana pups if you go over there.
Arizona Rare Fruit Club.
Arizona Rare Fruit Growers. But they call it the Fruit Club. But Arizona Rare Fruit Growers. Yeah. They meet over at Mesa once a month. They talk about grafting or avocados or whatever.
You got bananas here, right?
I do bananas. Yeah.
What do you do for your microclimate for your bananas?
A lot. They do need sun. They need a lot of healthy. They're high feeding trees. They need a lot of compost and worm castings. But they also need not as much water as you would think, and a lot of mulch. And they need some sun, but diffused light too.
Okay.
I would give them like on the western side of the bananas. I'd put like another tree to give them diffused afternoon shade. Typically, what I say to people is if it's not a native tree, it needs afternoon shade. But what time does afternoon shade start?
10 o'clock.
Yeah, like 10 o'clock in the morning. So if your tree is in the sun till 3 o'clock, you killed it. Good job. So, yeah. So what I would do is I would plant moringa or mulberry or palo verde or mesquite or acacia, shoestring acacia first. And those become the parents, right? Took this kid, you put this kid into Manhattan, they probably wouldn't make it unless some parent protected them. And gardening is the exact same thing. A little baby fruit tree can't make it unless the parent tree protects it. Believe me. Does that make sense? Okay, how many trees are on our list so far?
9.
10.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Did we say jujube?
You did?
Yes.
Did we say, I'm looking around, did we say guava?
Yes.
Yes.
Did we say olive?
No.
Olive's in there. And olive trees too, a lot of cities don't want them because of the pollen, but most of those rules against mulberry and olive is for companies who are going to go in and plant a whole landscaping development. A home fruit tree gardener, put an olive tree, and olives are in the freaking Bible. I mean, they're ancient, so grow them. They're really great. Is that 10?
Yeah, 11.
That's 11 now.
11? How are we going to come up with more trees? What's the other ones? I forget offhand here.
How about avocado?
I'm not going to say avocados because they're like the 14th one. They're like, you have to plant these trees first before avocados.
Figs.
You said fig.
Fig, I said fig, didn't
Fig
I?
already.
No, I missed it.
Fig is in there for sure.
Well, then I have 13.
Citrus is in there. And I would say stone fruit should be in there. And I'm not doing a very good job of growing peaches, but I'm doing a really good job of growing apricots. So for me, apricots are growing very well. And I do a really good job with the mini peaches called Bonanza peach. They're like miniature peaches that grow pretty well for me. There's a lady over on Squaw Peak Mountain, Piaspa Peak. She's growing peaches and apricots from seed. And she has a mango forest in her yard. She's growing 40-foot tall mango trees along her whole property. So she's got, but her dead mother's ghost protects the trees, she says. So unless your dead mom protects your trees, you're SOL, you know.
Mom's
But
still living. So I guess
she's
that's
amazing. She's growing a really cool yard over there by Piaspa Peak, and she says her secret is when the seasons change, she massages in some compost. She says that she does unlimited water because she tells her husband it's cheaper for her to water the trees than for therapy. And her mom loved that mango, and so her and her mom, before her mom died, planted the mango seed. It grew into a tree. Now it's 50 foot tall, and all the other mangoes have been grown from that mango's fruit by seed. So everybody out there is growing something cool, but I would recommend planting one of these first, a dozen whatever trees. Get them growing well. Prove yourself first. And then once you've got those trees growing, that will create an infrastructure which you need to insulate an avocado or, other stuff like that. These trees are pretty cool too. This is called a pineapple guava or a feijoa, and they flower every spring, and the flowers taste like vanilla ice cream. Oh, wow. They're really amazing.
Hey, quick question with the mulberries.
Yes.
So you prune them and you plant them close together, because everybody, when I started planting trees, you plant them too close together, close together.
I get a couple of questions. One, aren't the trees too close together? And two, aren't they too close to the house or the wall?
Always.
And I have found other master gardeners in town that are growing really cool home fruit orchards always use their house and walls to help protect the trees.
Yep.
So I put mulberry, or not mulberry, but moringa next to the house. See those moringa trees? They're only 1.5 years old from seed. And those moringa have a taproot that goes deep, so they won't hurt the house's foundation. Now, these mulberries are known for lifting up houses.
Yeah.
So they're out here,
Yep.
right? And also, I've seen any other fruit tree like an apricot or a jabuticaba. They grow very well next to a wall or a house because while they're babies, the house helps to guard them from wind and sun and all that stuff. And then the tree can grow above the house as it gets strong.
Yeah. So these two being this close together, do they grow around each other or do you prune them that way? Have you found that to be
I prune them this way.
Okay.
But a lot of times what happens in Phoenix is I notice that the leaves that kind of touch and kind of intermix together are always healthier looking.
Yep.
Because they have more shade.
Yeah.
Like me right now, like I'm dying in the sun right now. And you guys are all feeling pretty nice. Your trees want the same thing. They're just living things just like us, right? Though I get a lot of people trolling me on YouTube, which is like comes with the territory, right, on YouTube. And I have a martial art channel that has almost 700,000 subscribers, and that gets a lot of trolls. And the gardening channel gets less trolls, but people will say things like, you know, Jake, I heard you're vegan, man. That's a bunch of bullcrap because you're killing all the fruits and the vegetables, man. And they got feelings too. It used to be like, where do you get your protein from? But now that I stay athletic, they don't ask that anymore. It's always like fruit and veg feel pain too, man. I read a study online.
Right. What's the other?
And I'm like, well, here's my argument is that if you pick an apple off a tree, the tree continues to live.
Yeah.
If you pick a tomato plant keeps living. You can't take like a leg off a cow and the cow keeps going, you know? So anyways, so what I would say for you guys is if you're vegan or not, this weekend, right now is a great time to grow because it's the fall changeover season. Plant something. Plant one of my top 12 trees, and down below those trees, put a series of raised bed gardens. And you will fail and you will suck and you will kill stuff, but you will love it. And you'll be dancing out in your garden because it just makes good things happen. And some of them can be planted now. Yeah, like I would do a citrus or a mulberry. Anything on my list could be planted now except for the moringa. Don't do the moringa till April. Everything else could be planted now. Which one? Yeah, anything native, anytime you can plant it because they are native, right? They can take it. I'm not sure about that, but I didn't know, so I put it over there. But here's the thing about the ironwood. I put one in the front yard too, and then it got a little bit crazy. It was like growing into the street, and it's very thorny, right? You guys touch it, it'll grab you. So I took it out, and it was about this tall at that time. I pulled it out. I weeped one tear for the ironwood, and I ripped it out. It took me 3 hours to dig it out. It was like iron, hence ironwood. And I think that tree's roots were so strong, I couldn't get it out. Where like if it was like a Barbados Cherry, just one pull, it'd be out. So that tree is anchored. It will be there when Donald Trump's great grandkids are running this country, right? Just kidding. But the ironwood is amazing because it's the most native of natives, and they're like in danger. I think a lot of the cowboys used to use them as firewood. So I would really encourage you guys to plant this tree. It's a great one to plant for the Phoenix area. And let's go over and talk about raised beds, and then we're talking about my tropical section. So everything over here takes the full sun. Everything over there is more subtropical, and they help each other. So let's go right now and surround the raised beds out there, and then we're going to go over in the shade over here.
So Jake,